Okay guys, really exciting. It's officially the first day of the build and we've literally got the topographer behind me now making all the measurements, making sure that we know exactly where the house will be. So obviously it's really precise, you need to make sure you do everything within the limits, so that's really exciting. I'm really excited. They're just calculating now everything, and yeah, this is the beginning. This is soon no longer gonna look so bad. To begin, the topographer used this piece of equipment to measure the exact spaces and dimensions of the house. This is step 1 in the process. The data collected is already loaded into an engineering program, so we know exactly where the border of the house will begin. And with all those measurements ready to go, we call Thiago back so he can start digging and preparing the ground so we can start the foundations.
Right now we're studying how we can start the house the best way. Like more over there, so we gain more space here on this side.
With all the measurements done, the next step is placing the stakes in the exact position, so we know exactly where the house will begin and end.
Então, está colocando a faca aqui? No? Oh, não. Vou falar. Isso vai ser o limite da casa.
Que é a sinalização.
É. Ó. Faz mais uma. Pronto. É oficial. Isso aí. Eu vou estar na minha mesa de jantar.
And that's it. The very first step of building the house is complete. Next week, we'll begin the digging and starting the foundation.
And this guy right here is our contractor. His name is José, and you will be seeing him a lot around here. After searching and searching, we finally found him. In fact, we signed the contract just last week. And yes, it's official! We are now starting our main house, the most anticipated project on this land. Full of glass, unique angles, high ceilings, a place that will teach us so much as we build it, working side by side with the contractor and showing you every step of the way. So make sure you subscribe because the real building work begins right now.
Alright, those guys left and now we're left with the house. So these are the exact points of where the house starts and where it ends. This, for example, is one of the corners, and right there, there's another corner, and we have in total 4 corners for this house. With these corners, we know exactly where by the GPS, satellite, and coordinates where exactly the house is going to sit, and that's super important to put on the documents or to put on to follow the project, the exact project that the architect did, and for the Thiago to start digging the foundations as well.
I know you guys can't see the house, like, you know, envision it, but I can. Like, for me, it does feel really unreal that we're going to start this house, like, really soon. I know it's all plain, it's just a bunch of dirt, but like, soon, it's going to be this amazing vision, this amazing, beautiful modern house that we have designed. And it feels surreal. It feels real that we're starting it. So I just can't wait. I cannot wait. It's going to be so good.
Okay, now let's get back to the tiny house.
Now it's time to install the walls. This is the plywood we got. This type of plywood we only find in cold countries like Russia, and this one actually came all the way from Russia. That's why you're gonna see in the cost price in the end of the video is more expensive, because with this war situation you cannot transport directly from Russia to Portugal for the Europe Union. So those guys, they transport it to China, and then from China all the way again to Europe. You're gonna see on the cost sheet in the end of the video, but really good choice of material. That's all the credits to Ida that chose this material, and it's quite simple to install because we have these 250 by 125 panels that we're just gonna basically cut for the electricity cables to pass and for the wall limit, and that should be simple. Let's start.
Notice how these panels have that wood grain running in a single direction. In this case, all in vertical line. That means when we cut and install them, every single panel has to follow the same pattern. Otherwise, the end result won't look right.
Okay, let's try.
The first cut was the easiest of all. No angles, no holes, no complications. After cutting, we sanded the edges, spread some strong hot glue to secure the panel in place. Even though we're using nails, we're also gluing everything and then installing it.
Alright, I'll hold you past the internet, the cable, past the other cable as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shall I screw here then?
Yeah.
Start from the bottom.
Let's install this wall that was very complicated to cut, but it's gonna be looking so good.
Right, should I get the ladder or not?
No, just fit now.
Okay. Let me put the cables through.
Yeah, you do the cables. Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
How's the gap there?
Later, but like 1 millimeter more here,
What about-
especially on top.
That's not going in because you've cut it. Like, you see.
Oh yeah, true. Because there is a big gap here.
Oh, is there?
Yeah, it was way more than this other gap.
Yeah. It is a lot more.
Right, I'll just have to take
Just
a
have
little
to take
bit.
like a blade off, yeah.
Yeah, right, let's do this fast.
Some cuts were a lot more complicated, like this one by the door, where we had to make space for the doorway, our electrical box and outlets. And in the end, it makes such a difference once the panel is installed. The birch plywood gives the house such a minimalistic look, and it has a really strong wood smell, kind of like those Nordic cabins.
Let's do now the most complicated cut so far. I guess so far in this tiny house. Because we got this piece of plywood over here and we want to make the most of it. So you will go all the way from here until here. And the same piece will be over there on the corner, over here as well. I'll have to do a lot of holes for cables passing here, cables here, the gas, and more cables over there. Let's do this.
For the more complicated cuts, we'd pick a reference point on the wall and measure everything out from there. Using the tape measure, we trace out the lines almost like drawing a map, then cut with the circular saw. And honestly, just hope nothing went wrong. In this case, the panel fit perfectly. The green line you see here is from the laser level that we're using to keep everything straight. Because if one panel isn't level, it's going to cause big problems for the next ones and make all the walls feel crooked.
Tá, você vai na
A
escada.
gente tá testando o quê?
Eu só vou...
A linha. Peraí.
A linha.
Peraí. Eu
Só
vou
passo o
colocar
cabo aqui. Ok. E ali. Ok.
Tá certo, né?
Tá ali, tá, a linha tá boa, né?
É que os passos aqui.
Cortou mais, né?
É. Aí. Isso tá bom. Isso tá bom. Perfeito, perfeito. Isso é perfeito.
Tá, peraí.
Desse jeito.
Segura então onde que vai ficar.
Sim.
Aí vai ficar aí, né?
Vai ficar aí. Sim, tá ótimo.
Sim?
Tá ótimo. Tá bom que fosse limpo. Agora eu vou colocar a cola.
Ok, bota a cola. Ótimo.
Hope that doesn't get annoying in the way. Let me get the knife. Wait. Okay, let's try.
Now guys, the last one from this living room.
So the glue gun.
I would say that we started with the hardest part of the house. With these last two pieces, we can officially say we've finished installing the panels on half of the house. The final panel was 2 millimeters too big, so we trimmed it down and reinstalled it. And just like that, half of the walls were done. Look at the difference it makes to the space.
And that's a wrap. Welcome to our new living room. I love it. I think plywood was the best choice ever. I can't believe how good it looks. Well, this side anyway, because now we have to do the other side. You're in the video. Okay. Ok, vamos testar se isso vai encaixar certinho. É um corte bem complicado. É, isso, coloca. Uau! Eliezer, você sabe, rapaz, usar essa serra, né? Ok, vamos lá.
Ok.
Yeah.
Ok, mais para trás.
Aí,
Ok.
tá bom?
Ok.
In total, there are 16 sheets of birch plywood, each measuring 2.5 by 1.25 meters. And with every panel installed, we could feel the difference it made. Suddenly, it felt like a real house. Right now, it's basically just a home with no furniture and bathroom. But very soon, we'll be spending our first night here. We're so excited to finally sleep in this tiny house and to wake up the next morning and start working right below on our main house. And then we reached the very last panels. And by complete irony of fate, look what happened. Guys,
Look what has just happened. Just now.
we were just working inside the tiny house.
And we heard a crack. I heard that crack. It's a very specific cracking. And Bozar started barking. And look, a massive pine tree has just fallen on the land. And exactly, we'll show you in a second, where the tiny house was before we moved it.
2 weeks ago, the tiny house was there. Who remember before we moved the tiny house? And look at the size of this pine. Dropped where the tiny house was. Imagine if the tiny house was still there. Imagine if me and Ida were working there right now.
Oh my God.
Not very safe, innit? It was just there. I'm super glad we moved the tiny house, and we're gonna have to call the camera right now,
It's basically the council.
the council, to
Because-
find out.
No, because the person who owns this land has a responsibility to clean their own land. And like now, maybe they didn't realize that obviously this house was abandoned for a long time, but now they obviously need to take responsibility and clear this, because this is actually dangerous. And you know, we park cars there, the tiny house is there. This is really, and this isn't the first time this has happened. Last
No.
year there was loads of other trees that has fallen. This tree right there.
Yeah, this
And-
tree right here. You can see some more trees over there. Every month or so.
Yeah, we should probably move here, you never know. Let's go. A huge danger. That's why we moved the tiny house 2 weeks ago. if this tree had fallen while we were working inside, we'd probably be dead.
Back to work. We did some progress, but we didn't film. Yes, now we are on the last piece. On that window over there, I ordered 16 plywood pieces, which is exact. And now Ida is gonna do the ceiling for the mezzanine.
I'm gonna do this part the same as we've done with the roof, because we had some tongue and groove boards left over, so we might as well just use them up. And yeah, then we're pretty much good to go.
That is it. And then we live in a house.
Yeah, this is a house.
A house
I
with
could move in here tonight.
A house with no furniture and bathroom.
But it smells so nice in here.
Yes.
I love it.
Plywood. Good boy.
Time to install the final panel. With this done, all the walls are now in place. We left the bathroom wall unfinished for now because we're still deciding on the right materials. Either we're going to be using ceramic or tile, or maybe marble. Let's see. And now the last detail, the kitchen ceiling. After 3.5 days of working 10 hours a day pretty much, we have finished our interior walls. So as you guys can see, the results are amazing. Obviously this was our first time we ever used plywood, and I absolutely loved using this plywood. Firstly, it was quite easy because obviously we bought these huge pieces, so it's 2.5 meters by 1.25. So we tried to use the most of the board instead of cutting it up into smaller pieces. So that's given us more of like this minimalistic, clean aesthetic, which was what I was going for. And yeah, we used the glue, the really strong glue, and then the nails, that's really held it in place nicely. Most of the cuts were really easy to do. Just a couple of the angles that Elias actually managed to do perfectly. And we decided to install everything vertically, so it makes sure that the grain is going all the same direction. And I do like the little contrast we made underneath the mezzanine to kind of match with the roof, the ceiling. And yeah, everything's ready. The cuts, we did all the holes for the lights and the plugs. And now we're ready for the electrician to come back and do the second fix or last fix. And that's it. We're ready now to move on to the next stage, which is going to be probably the bathroom. So yeah, absolutely love how it turned out, and we'll definitely be using way more plywood. What an incredible job. Of course, this isn't the final result. We'll still be adding the trims where the walls meet the ceiling and around the windows. But for a first time job, learning everything from YouTube, I think we're doing pretty well.
And now about the house, guys. After a long time looking for a builder, we finally got to find this guy, which is a builder that we can trust. He has a lot of experience. He's from the area here, and he also wants to work with us. And we already started the house. This work that we did this week on the typography, marking the land, is the first thing that you start, and then Thiago is gonna come next week to do some excavations, so then we can start pouring concrete and we can do our foundations. We are super happy with the progress because it's the perfect timing. We are about to finish the tiny house, it's pretty much done, and we already started the main house. We have an idea. We're gonna put a security camera right on that angle and film the entire process of the house. Time-lapse going day and night, filming from this point until the house is done. You guys should tell us what you guys think about this idea, and then we release the video, a huge time-lapse with like 1 year long time-lapse. I don't know how long this house is gonna take, of the whole construction. We are super excited for that, and you guys are gonna see here uploads of the tiny house and uploads of the main house now on the channel. Finally! So subscribe and see you next week.
Now, let's talk about costs. In this video, we mostly work with the plywood panels for the walls. The glue we already had, same with the nails, so the only cost was the plywood itself. And look at the price. 16 sheets of 9mm birch plywood, 2.5 by 1.25 meters, cost us €760, including delivery and VAT. Expensive, yes, but worth it. Also, in the last video, we made a mistake with the total tiny house cost. It ended with $17,945, but the real amount was $18,595. So now, adding the plywood cost, the total stands to €19,355. We're getting really close to the 20k mark. So that's it for this week's video. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.
Subscribe.